Hey, I'm Anfa. I'm a lead of the project Liblast. If you don't know, Liblast is a open source first-person shooter multiplayer game project in quite early stages of development still. The goal of the project is to create a modern first-person shooter that is friendly to new players. We want to learn from lessons of other games like Xonotic, for example, and we've come to the conclusion that the design of Quake clones, or like cloning the Quake model of arena shooters, is inherently doomed because when the game is out for a few years, people who have started playing earliest are gonna be the best, and they're just going to smear the floor with everyone else. Because of the game mechanics, when everyone joins and have nothing and they need to collect their weapons, their armor, stack their health or any other power-ups, the players who have most experience in the level layout and are most skilled in the game are also going to have much more firepower and much more resistance to damage. So basically, this is a feedback loop that makes good players even better, which unfortunately leads to players who are new to the game get discouraged very quickly because they just get crushed mercilessly. And if you join any game of Xonotic and a veteran joins the match, they're just gonna destroy you and you will have no fun whatsoever. So we want to design a game that is going to be class-based. So characters have their loadouts. Everyone starts on the same footing and you have the weapon ready from the get-go. So there is no need to collect your weapons. There are not gonna be power-ups on their level that can suddenly make you 5 times stronger or make you able to tank damage, because that would give the good players an amazing advantage. And the bad players will never get to these pickups because the good players will already scoop them up. So these mechanics are only perpetuating the painful humiliation of people who are trying to learn the game and are trying to enjoy it for the first time. We want to make the game team-based so that the matches have an objective which is different than just killing people. So if you are a new player, you can stay away from the objectives and you won't be hurt, at least not much. So you can also because the objective is not to kill other players, it's not the primary objective, it's of course the means of defending points and, you know, accomplishing goals that will grant you points to win the match. But killing your enemies is not the primary objective. And that means that players who are less skilled can still keep their distance and be safer and still enjoy the game, maybe getting a shot or two in, right? So we think that these mechanics are a better idea for a long-standing game. And I think TF2 is a good testament to that, even though the game is very, very complex and it doesn't do a good job at teaching players the mechanics. So there is still the problem that veterans are going to be much better. But because of the team and class-based nature of the game, and the fact that most game modes are centered around objectives and not just killing people, means that even the new players can have fun in the game most of the time when there are no bots sniping everyone, of course. So yeah, that's the game design idea for Liblast. Also, a lot of people came in touch and asked if we could make this a generalized multiplayer FPS template for Godot 4. And I think that's a good idea, and probably there will be other projects spawning from Liblast as we go along and have all the basics implemented. It's not decided yet if we should facilitate this at any point because we're a bit too early in this process. There isn't really that much specific content in, so like, replacing the content isn't really a difficulty. We also want to facilitate mods in the future so that private game servers or public game servers can list mods, and if the server provides, like the server will have to provide a working download link so that anyone joining the game can download the mod package and enjoy the modded game. And we would encourage that. So there will be a possibility for a lot of public servers run by people where the game is completely changed. And that's gonna be awesome, I think. The long-term goal is to have the game available via HTML5, so it can be played in a browser, and to support optional user accounts. So people will be able to register inside of the game and have an account, which will store their and protect their identity, so their nickname and their avatar, and all their settings will be saved. So there will be, their favorite servers, they friends, stats. We are thinking about maybe later working on things like achievements that will grant people cosmetic items to provide some little extra incentive to learning the game. Of course, the game will always be free to play, and there's not going to be any monetization scheme. We probably will start accepting donations at some point to help offset the hosting cost. We probably will get a domain, a custom domain for the game later, etc. So yeah, I would also like to announce that we have a new team member. Yesterday there was a team meeting and we have a new programmer joining on board, and I'm really excited to work with them. And yeah, this new release 0.1.1.5 was made just for the team meeting, and what it includes, the most notable change is that the map has been redone. I've remade the map entirely. It's a completely new map based on the previous one, which has a bit more verticality to it. So you can, walk around these places and shoot people up. You can't go there because you don't have enough jetpack, unless, of course, you use the bug that is so fun we didn't patch it out yet, because it's just way too much fun to use this bug. And as you can see, we have a bit of new extra stuff. I've added these platforms, which if we do have some pickups, and there will be some pickups, probably like health pickups and ammo pickups, but nothing crazy, like quad damage, etc. Because that would just enable good players to be so much better that nobody will stand a chance, and this will just make new players miserable. I've also made a few places where you can hide. Basically, the goal of the remaking of the level was to make the geometry clean, so there is no weird stuff going on that you can just, phase through a wall, because there was a lot of messy geometry going on. And the player was also, the level was also a little bit too big, and I didn't remake it fully. As you can see, it's smaller, it's a bit simpler, but it's definitely more tidy. I've also added some places where you can take cover. For example, here you can, assault from here and take cover, and, you can also jump in here. We've had a match yesterday and we had great fun. There are still some bugs, but I fixed quite a few. Notably, there was a bug where jumping out of the level would grant you a point. So you could just keep killing yourself and your score would go up. So now your score goes down, and you can also see that in the top right corner there's a log, player Anfa has killed himself. So now we have a different kill log if you kill yourself. So if you commit a suicide. It is also possible to kill yourself using the rocket launcher, because if you jump from high enough, you can get enough velocity to just hit your own rocket as you're going down, right? Like what I've done now, and it takes exactly 2 rockets to kill you. So you need to do this twice. Oh no, I missed it. Okay, I can kill myself with rocket. Can I? Okay, no, I didn't. I still killed myself. Yeah, so this is that. We're using a brand new nightly build of Ghetto 4. the new release is on Codeberg. And yeah, we've had a match. I didn't record the footage of it, but we probably will make another testing feature, another playtesting session on this new level once we get some extra fixes in, because there's some pretty important bugs like, for example, if you try to disconnect from the game, it's going to kill the server, so stop the game for everyone. And also, if you shoot someone with a rocket launcher and you kill them, the kill is granted to the host of the game and not to you. So it kind of sucks. A bit of extra stuff is that I made an LOD model for the shell casing, which uses normal maps and much less geometry, so it should be a little bit lighter. And I also added a mechanic that detects overlapping bullet holes. So if you shoot a bunch of times, the overlapping bullet holes will disappear, so that to reduce possible, reduce the overlap and reduce possible strain on the rendering, because I think layering a lot of decals on top of each other doesn't work great. I've also lowered the resolution of the decal texture. It was like quite ridiculously high. There's still a huge amount of optimization that can be done and will be done there. This level, because it's so clean, it also exposes issues with movement. For example, you can't walk up this ramp. And I think it should be possible to walk up this ramp. You need to jump it. And there's also some things like getting stuck on corners sometimes. And there is also a demonstrable issue with the rocket launcher, where if you stand in a proper place, sometimes you can just shoot through a wall or a corner, like I've just done. And it doesn't happen every time because the rocket launcher has a random spread, because it just reaches the code of the pistol. But you can see I can shoot through the wall. So this is weird and this needs to be addressed, etc. There's a lot of issues. We have a new programmer on the team. And yeah. Also, Godot 4 has merged a feature called scene replication, which can possibly... there is an impending rewrite of the entire networking code using this feature, because it can simplify a lot of things on the game code side, leveraging this technology, and to make the game much simpler in itself and much more reliable. And hopefully, just that could possibly fix a lot of bugs that just come from the fact that synchronizing the game state across peers is totally manual right now. And with that new feature, it's going to be quite a bit automatic. Yay, decals fade in. Yeah, I also like the lighting. I think I try to differentiate the different rooms with colors and lights, so it's a bit easier to tell where you are. Because in the previous level it was quite large and I was just keep getting lost. I didn't know where I was. There were so many corridors. I just keep just, I don't know, being lost. Yeah. So this one is much simpler. And yeah, I also used some extra geometry to throw shadows so the sun doesn't shine through the walls. And oh, a big one. There's occlusion culling now working. So basically, when you go into a room, players that are behind walls and projectiles, etc., are not being drawn anymore. And if you like, the level geometry is divided into multiple chunks. So, for example, if I stand here, nothing except of this particular part of the level is going to be rendered. Like that room is not gonna be rendered right now when I'm standing here, and also no players that are behind walls, etc. Before, I didn't really know how the occlusion culling system works, and I assumed it just works. And no, there needs to be an occluder node present in the level, so that is being rendered to the occlusion buffer, and it's used to decide if a mesh should be hidden or not. Maybe if I manage to maybe I can catch a little glimpse of occlusion culling not occluding a little bit too early. No, it's too good. It's doing too good of a job, and I can't really do that. Yeah, so occlusion culling reduces the rendering load because now not all of the level geometry needs to be drawn at the same time, and a lot less has to be drawn. Pretty much before that, pretty much everything, if you look in a direction and there are hidden players like, you know, behind the walls, etc., everything of that, everything has to be drawn. Now, not so much. Also, this highlights another problem with this piece of the Remix highlights another problem with the player movement, and that is when you stand on the ledge like that, you're still building up gravity acceleration, and then you just fall, do some crazy things. So I think the simplicity, relative simplicity and cleanliness of this level helps us better identify problems with the movement code and other things, and also bugs in the engine. I've also tried to eliminate some other issues. For example, Godot has this problem where it supports lights that have a radius and can create, you know, soft shadows. But there is a bug that highlights specular reflections from these lights create some incorrect numbers in the shaders and produce weird black pixels that emit glow around them. So they're just bug out. So I've set radius to all lights in the game to 0, so that this problem is not there until it's fixed in the game. So far there are no reflection probes because I didn't take the time to add them, but they can be added later. And no reverb zones yet for this level. Yeah, there are some minor tweaks with, like, you know, sound effects of the rockets, so they don't play when they're 100 meters away and they're fade out a bit earlier. Some sound effects tweaks with the pistol shell casing, I hope. And there's also a new parameter in the console. You can now disable the shell casing, so you can render casing false. And now the shell casing is not going to be drawn. Now there are still some prop slowdowns. For example, now I have 56 frames per second, and I don't know why. And I've spent some time in the Godot profiler trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And the problem is it's not the particles, because I've disabled all particles and it still was the slowdown was still there. It's not the decals, because I've disabled the decals and the problem is still there. It's not the shell casing, because I've just disabled shell casing, and and I really don't know what could it be, because there isn't much left. So I don't know. And also, if you shoot, like, you can see that the smoke just disappears, and yeah, that's also part of the effort of reducing overlap and making sure that there isn't, like, you know, 20 smoke billboards rendering one on top of each other, because this could cause rendering slowdowns. So this no longer is such an issue, because the smoke just, you know, if you're shooting really at the same spot, the smoke is just going to disappear from the previous holes. Only the new smoke will be there, so it shouldn't be you know. But yeah, there are still slowdowns, there's still performance issues, there are still a lot of bugs, but we're moving forward. We're making progress. We've had lots of fun playing yesterday, and I hope we can organize another playtesting session and have even more fun. And yeah, but first we should fix all the bugs that are known at this moment, because yeah, I'm gonna try to kill myself. Oh, I hit myself, but I still, what the hell? Did the health bar did not update, or what? Okay, I'm really bad at killing myself here. Let's try and get as high as possible. I also figured out a little bit of the Blender, yay, the Blender level design workflow. This is done with booleans, and yeah, it's a little bit better. Yeah, the import script that would replace materials automatically with the ones from a library is not working yet, and I think that's a problem with Godot Engine. I reported this issue and I'm waiting for it to be fixed. But I figured a workaround, so you don't need to replace all materials on all meshes manually every time you re-import the level. which allows me to iterate on the level, which is like, you know, it was also a major problem with the previous level, which was very messy, and that was a major pain in the butt. So iterating on the level design was pretty much impossible. And well, that also blocked a lot of other features. So I decided to remake the level because that unlocked us to fix a lot of other things. And also, you know, realize where there are actual problems, because there are problems like the rockets going through walls sometimes. Just kind of shitty, kind of bad. Kind of don't want rockets going through walls. Yeah, that's all I wanted to tell for this Liblast release update. Thank you so much. If you're interested in joining the project, let us know. We are always looking for people who would like to join and make this new open source multiplayer first-person shooter a reality, and make it a really cool game that the community will be enjoying for the years to come, and that hopefully will also become a backbone of other projects that would otherwise not be possible because it's just too much work to implement all the features that are expected of a. Oh, I see that the health bar is not updating because I respawned, but I seem to have still 0 health. It's kind of neat. Yeah. All right. That's all from me at this moment. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you again. Bye.